Hello everyone, this is Jarrett Morgan. Today I'll be going over Chapter 4, Planning Business Messages in Advanced Business Communication. First we start with a 3-step writing process. Plan, analyze the situation, gather information, choose the medium and channel, and you need to identify the best combination of situation, message, and audience. Organize the information and define the main idea, limit your scope, and outline your content. Next, we have write. Adapt your audience, be sensitive to their needs, use a you attitude, politeness, positive emphasis, and unbiased language. Build a strong relationship, control your tone, use plain English, and appropriate voice. Lastly, we have complete. Revise the message, evaluate content, and review readability. Edit and rewrite for consciousness and clarity. Produce the message, use effective design element, suitable layout for professional appearance. Proofread the message, review for errors in layout, spelling, mechanics. Distribute the message, just deliver your message using the chosen medium, and you want to make sure all your documents are received and sent. Using the 3-step process will become more automatic and intuitive the more you use it. Have the right amount of time for the writing project. Always make sure you have enough time. If you know it's going to take you 2 or 3 hours, maybe give yourself a little bit more extra time. As a rule of thumb, use the following as a guideline. 50% for planning, 25% for writing, 25% for completing. Planning effectively. Diving right into replying to a message can sometimes lead to extra work and stress later in the process. Use thoughtful planning to make sure the correct information is going to the right people. This allows for faster and easier writing and less stress. Planning can also save you from embarrassing blunders, which could lead to hurting you or your company. You don't want to be sending information out to the wrong people. This could lead to a lot of issues. Analyzing the situation. Every situation is different. You can have a specific message to send to a specific audience under a specific set of circumstances. You could be dealing with a single person or a large number of people. Like with social media, you may be trying to have multiple readers with multiple goals, such as a potential employer or just connecting with peers. The message may be the same, but the level of detail and tone may change from one situation to another. Defining your purpose. Test your purpose with these questions. Will anything change as a result of your message? Is your purpose realistic? Is the time right? And is your purpose acceptable to your organization? After you're satisfied with these questions, you then can proceed to the next part. Developing an audience profile. Audiences must be interested in what you have to say, or they just won't listen, or they might not comprehend everything that your message is trying to deliver. Follow these steps to analyze your audience. First, identify your primary audience. Determine audience size and geographic distribution. Determine audience composition. Gauge audience members' level of understanding. Understand audience expectations and preferences, and forecast probable audience reaction. So you want to know how they're going to react to your message. Gathering the information. Once you know your audience, you must gather the right information. Use these techniques to gather insight to guide your research. Consider the audience's perspective. Listen to the community. Read reports and other community documents. Talk with supervisors, colleagues, and customers, and ask your audience for input. Finding your focus. You may encounter a situation that you have no idea how to get started. We've all had writing blocks. So a good way to help you with that is free writing. It helps find your focus in a new writing project. You just basically write whatever comes to your mind. It gives an advantage by silencing your inner critic. And also sketching can be very helpful. Thinking visually sometimes can eliminate those blocks or those ideas that were trapped behind words. Providing required information. Use the journalistic approach, which asks who, what, where, when, why, and how. This quickly tells whether the message fails to deliver. Use accurate information. Quality is just as important as quantity. Use ethical information. If you are wrong, you need to contact the person immediately and correct the error. Do not leave out important information unless you have legal or business reasons to do so. And lastly, the rule of thumb, use as much information to avoid misleading your audience. And also, you want to use pertinent information and filter out what they don't need. Selecting the best media and channels. Remember, most medias can be distributed through more than one channel. There are 6 basic combinations of distribution: oral, in person, face-to-face; oral medium, digital; phone, podcast, voicemail, radio; written, printed, can be memos and letters; written, digital, email, instant messages, social media, and PDF files; visual, printed, can be photographs; digital, infographics, interactive diagrams, animations, and digital video. You want to use the best combination of media and channels to reach your audience. There are some challenges with communication on mobile devices, because most mobile devices can create and consume virtually every digital form of information, but this can also lead to challenges such as screen size resolution. Sometimes when you're looking at a not mobile friendly page, you're going to see where you have to zoom in and scroll side to side. You want to think about using those kind of things or not using those kind of things, because it's going to pit clarity against context. People might just back out and not fully read your message. Input technologies. Texting on a keypad or using voice recognition can be difficult. Voice recognition can allow others to overhear sensitive information. So if you're out in a public area, you don't want to be speaking your information over your phone. And voice recognition isn't always reliable. Bandwidth, speed, and connectivity limitations. Speed on mobile connectivity varies widely by device, carrier, service plan, and location. Mobile can also lose connection while traveling, passing through networks, or hitting dead spots. Data usage and operational cost. Due to data transfer, data consumption is becoming a key concern. Most do not have unlimited plans, and some plans might have restrictions. Other than when you must use an internal IM or social networking, you should consider choosing some of these factors: richness, convey message through visual, verbal, and vocal communication, facilitating feedback, and establish personal focus. You also want to consider the formality of the message. If it's a more formal gesture, you may want to use a memo or printed letter. A quick message to a coworker may just require an email or instant message. Media and channel limitations. Instant message is less effective for complex messages that involve multiple people. And file data size, you can send by instant message is limited and can send more via email. Urgency, you want to consider urgency. If you have something that needs an answer right away, you might not want to send a letter. You might want to think about using a phone call or an instant message or maybe even email. And then cost. Video or multimedia can send a signal of sophistication and professionalism or a disregard for company budgets. So you want to think about the best use of company cost. Audience preferences. If you know what they like, then use it. Maybe they're used to using conference calls through phone, or maybe they only prefer email. So just if you know what they like, just use that form of media or channel. Security and privacy. Be mindful or sensitive of information and how you distribute it, and never assume your email, instant message, and other communications are private. So like with social media, you might not want to put sensitive information online for other people to see it. So just always think about the other person's privacy and security. Organizing your information. Organization helps readers in 3 ways: helps them understand your message, helps them accept your message, and saves your audience time. In addition, good organization also saves you time. Defining your main idea. The topic of your message is the overall subject. Your main idea is a specific statement about the topic. Use the following to help you create ideas or generate creative ideas. First, brainstorm alone or with others. Generate as many ideas and questions and look for patterns and connections to help identify the main idea. You could also use the journalistic approach: who, what, when, where, why, and how. Question and answer chain. Start with audience questions and work backwards. Storyteller's tour was where you record yourself through a digital device and you listen to the playback. And then you can identify ways to tighten and clarify the message. Repeat until you've distilled the main idea. You have mind mapping, which is where you branch out from the main idea and connect every other idea. There are many free mind mapping tools online. Next, limiting your scope. The scope is the range of information you present, the overall length, and the level of detail. It's vital to limit yourself to the scope needed to convey your main idea. Limit the number of major supporting points to half a dozen or fewer possible. Think smaller number of points with greater impact. This will reduce the likelihood of you rambling on. Next, choose between the direct and indirect approach. Direct approach starts with the main idea and follows with supporting evidence, and the indirect approach starts with the evidence and builds up to the main idea. So you want to choose the way you deliver it. Outlining your content. Here's an example of an outline. You want to create an organizational chart or outline and start with your main idea, then state the major points, provide examples and evidence. Starting with your main idea, this helps you to establish your goals and strategy of the message. It also summarizes 2 vital considerations: what you want your audience members to do or think, and why they should do so. Everything in your message should support or explain your main idea. Stating the major points. Major points are used to support and explain the main idea in concrete terms. Providing examples and evidence. They should illuminate, expand, and confirm your supporting points. Choose examples and evidence carefully that support your overall message and do not distract your audience. A few strong points are usually more persuasive than large collections of smaller details. You can back up your major supporting points by using 6 types of detail: facts and figures, example of illustration, description, narration, reference to authority, visual aids. Then we have building reader interest with storytelling techniques. Storytelling is a vital means of communication. We've all done it growing up as kids. We've all heard stories, so it's a major way that we still communicate today. Entrepreneurs use stories to help investors see their vision. Stories help readers and listeners imagine themselves living through the experience. Stories can demonstrate cause and effect relationships. A classic story has 3 parts: the beginning, which presents a character; the middle, which shows the character taking action; and the end answers questions and usually offers a lesson to be learned. In summary, we went over the 3-step process: planning, writing, and completing, analyzing the situation, defining your purpose, and developing an audience profile, gathering information, uncover audience needs, find your focus, provide required information, selecting the best combination of media and channels with the 6 types, organizing your information, defining your main idea, limiting your scope, choosing approach, and outlining your content, and the 6 types of detail used to support evidence and examples. Lastly, we move on to the question. In today's business communication, organizations are becoming more and more digitally connected. Do you think this trend will continue, and how do you think this will affect businesses in the future? I appreciate you guys listening, and have a great day.